Welcome to Schooling Around 2018. Today we witness the ending of one challenge and the beginning of another as Molly Darnell and her class present their personal projects over at the Performing Arts Center. Meanwhile, Team TORC 2137 has game. It's called Power Up, and we sit down with two of our new international students from India as well. Stay right there.
Welcome to the 2017-2018 Personal Project Night. Your child and other students were huge risk takers this semester and took on a new class. I really want to stress this semester was not so much about product, it was really about process. And there were many points during the semester where there was some panic, and that's okay. There was a good use of time management skills and a bad use of time management skills. And I think a good amount of learning on how long do things really take to get done.
And that's how it started, the beginning of the IB Middle Year Personal Inquiry Project presentation for 2018. Teacher Molly Darnell reminds us of the significance of this class.
Well, the intention is that it shows all of the skills that students have acquired over time, and that through the learning of all 8 disciplines, they have an idea of an exploration that they would like to take.
There were 12 kids in this class. Jaden was one of them. I asked him why he did this.
These projects are meant to teach you how to budget time, and because they told us to choose something that we wanted to have accomplished so we could work on it on our own, not like, because in school projects you usually have a lot of hand-holding. There's an outline for how you're supposed to do something, but for this class it was just choose a topic, figure out how you're going to do it, and go. So
tell me what led you to choose the topic that you did.
I chose animation because that is what I want to do with my life. As long as I'm doing something that relates to animation in some way, I know I'm doing the right thing. So, and I've always been drawn to animation as a kid. I've always some of my greatest inspirations, animators like J.G. Quintel, Rebecca Sugar, Alex Hirsch, Justin Roiland are a few names that come to mind.
Jaden's efforts and frustrations are typical of most kids in this class. He tells us about some of his first steps.
Well, first I had to come up with a rough idea for the story, and for that I looked at what people on YouTube do for when they do animations on YouTube. A lot of animation YouTubers do story time videos where they take a funny story from their past, like when they were a little kid or sometime in high school, and they exaggerate it a bit and throw in some jokes to make it funny and entertaining. And then once I had the idea for what story I was going to use, I got to storyboarding, which is the process of using rough drawings to outline your story. My storyboards include some dialogue because I needed it to help me kind of go along the way.
What was your story?
My story was about a time I was about 4 or 5, and when you're really little, I'm really trusting of people, and I had this friend who wasn't exactly the best person when it came to being when it came to sharing. So even though me then like all my friends in my old neighborhood would share with him. So I let him borrow something that belonged to me, and I left him alone with it for a little bit, and he took it. And like I knew he took it, so I tried to get him to give it back. I was never like intimidating about it, but then he moved away.
So it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. So I storyboarded that. I threw in some jokes. There's always a thing that comedy comes in threes, so I have one recurring joke that comes through 3 times throughout the thing, which is the random viewer, which is like someone who basically like a simulated viewer, like someone who's supposed to be watching the video that like keeps interjecting in the middle of the story, and my character starts to get a little irritated and is like, can I please tell the story? And it's just something I thought was funny. I threw in like some visual gags and stuff, like for all the scenes where I'm reflecting back as younger me, I'm wearing a hat, so you can differentiate between me like when I draw myself as I am now versus when I was a little kid. So I drew a hat on that because my avatar wears the same jacket, which is my favorite jacket. I'm not wearing it now, but it's my favorite jacket. So, and then after storyboarding was done, which is just like a rough story outline, I took the dialogue that I wrote for the storyboards and I refined it and put it into a script. Since I wanted the animation to be about 1 to 2 minutes long and posted on YouTube, I wanted the script to not be too long but not be too short, so it's about 4 pages, and there's like some dramatic pauses, there's some stage direction, I guess you would call it, even though it's animation. Like there's pauses and like places where I'd put in like After Effects and editing and stuff like that. And once I had the story like all realized and done, I decided that I wanted to get going on actually animating it. So I talked to people in the school, mainly Mr. Mezin, and he provided me with this Wacom drawing digital art pad, which I used for the majority of the animation. And I worked in Mr. Millard's room, which was the tech room, and I worked in there for about 2.5 weeks as the storyboarding and script and stuff took much longer than I thought it would.
Very complicated process.
Yeah, for someone who had never done it before, it was a really exciting experience. I remember every time I like showed my parents or my brother like a piece of animation I had done, I was like super excited about it, and I just really am glad that I was able to at least attempt and get at least this much done, which is great for me as someone who's never done animation. There were a few things that I could have done differently, as one of the other members of this class had some prior animation experience and told me some things that I could have done differently that would have maybe sped up the process or something along those lines. But I'm pretty happy with what I have, and over here is some comics, because I've been doing comics since I was really little, and they're all relatively short, and they're just about stupid things like that are supposed to be funny. Like this one's about when you wake up in the morning and it snowed the night previously, so once you look out the window, like it really hurts your eyes. This one's about having a friend on vacation in a warm place while you're stuck freezing in Michigan. They're just like really funny short things, and those were kind of like my base for how I did the storyboards, because as you can see, like they kind of just look like really long versions of these short comics I do in this notebook.
If there was a common thread that ran true with each and every one of you guys, I would say that it's that you didn't have enough time.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Do you feel that you're going to try and finish this on your own?
Oh yes.
The class is done?
Yes, I want to not only try to finish this, but I want to do more. I want to hopefully start my own YouTube channel where I can do animations there, and with luck, hopefully I'll get spotted by an art school or something. Jarius Aaron took on a similar project, movie making.
Yes, I'm happy.
Good.
It helped me many ways, many ways.
It seems like what everybody has stated about their project here tonight is that they didn't have time to get it done.
Yep, I just really, as you can see, I made like these were just I had hundreds of pictures, but it really only translates to a few minutes. But like
What are some of these?
like the first picture, this picture is like literally one of the first pictures I took when I first made the armature.
Which one are we talking about?
The gray one.
Okay.
So pretty much when I started this is my basis. I didn't really like it as much, so I tried to make it better, and I made this. I also didn't like this as much, so I just scrapped it, and I still used the skeleton of it and just covered it with green clay. Right. As you can see, this is probably one of my favorite shots of pretty much my compilation of just scenes with no context. This is just other scenes of just walking animation and stuff. And so
you're going to try and finish this up?
I would. Maybe not now, but first thing I would do, I would just redo this, not all of it, but redo some things. I would also try to get actors who would just work on this at a casual pace, because like when I'm not forced pressured by the class, I think I could do this in about a year or two.
Molly Darnell has an overview.
So if you think about all those projects, you know, some we saw had an artistic theme to it or a technical theme to it. So in what classes is something being triggered in them in which there's a passion to make something? Because we don't get to see, if I'm taking an art class, I might not see how art could be applicable in a real world experience, but here I can make it applicable to a real world experience.
So what's next for these kids?
They'll go into 11th and 12th grade, and whether they choose to do the diploma program or not is up to them. This is the end moment of where all students, they still have MYP classes that they will take, but students who choose to complete this portion of the MYP project or this portion of it, the capstone, have the opportunity to receive the MYP certificate.
Now, you guys were doing a certain amount of experimentation with the way that you conducted this, because for the first time, you had this presented as a class, as part of the curriculum. So you didn't quite know?
We didn't know, and the intention was to grow the size of students. That didn't actually come to fruition. It didn't have the growth that we had hoped that it would. But the reality is, at the end of the day, is Oxford High School offers a lot of great electives. And when you take even a semester class to fit it in, because so many of our classes too are year-long courses, then what do I take in that second semester? Or just sheer by, I already know what I want to do. I'm a biomedical kid, or I'm a robotics kid, or I'm an arts or a band. Suddenly, your limits on what you can take, get a little more narrow.
So now that you've gone through one semester of this as it is, what's the next step?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we have a lot of reflections based on the class. I think we have where we know where we want to go, but the steps to get there is going to take a little bit more inquiry on our parts and a little bit more planning, and then to put it into action and reflect again. I mean, we're going to take the same steps to move this along as our students took throughout this course.
Next, Team TORC 2137 gets warmed up for a new season. Stay tuned.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
For a lot of us, when we think about high school robotics, we think about a lot of geeky kids at computer desks. Not true. When you walk into the robotics lab during a meeting, you see a group of very smart young people who are so happy to be together doing what they're doing, it may as well be a party. The big event of the last few days was the announcement of the TORC Robotics Challenge for 2018, otherwise known as the game. This one is called Power Up. I visited their meeting the other night. Safety Captain Angelina Hanser and Mechanical Group Captain Arheli Mendoza explained. Now listen very carefully.
We have to gain control of our small scale here, which is our plate, and take control of this big scale here, which is the scale.
So what kinds of stuff do you have to make your robot able to do?
Well, our goal for this is to be able to pick up these small boxes, which we have right here. They're they're small milk crates, and they are our power blocks. And those will help us to balance out the scales in our favor. And we need to make sure that with our robot, we want to make sure that we can pick up the boxes and be able to place them. That is the basic idea of it. Yeah.
Right. So like the whole game, it starts with like two alliances. Each one has like two different teams. So once they start, there's like this autonomous period, which is 15 seconds, and they can cross like this like imaginary line per se for like additional points, and they can place certain things to earn like extra points, and like these are like teeter-totters, so they like balance. So if you put like some here, you are earning like extra points, and it's like you're like in charge of whatever like scale or like the plate you're on. And same thing here, but this one's like a little bit more tall than this one's. And then like for these little things on here, you can just like drop these cubes into it, and hopefully like the robots are gonna be able to like pick them up, and then they can drop them like in this area.
So the object of this game is to do what?
The object of the game is to, as with what First calls it, the organization that puts on this, the goal of it is to face and defeat the boss, whereas by the end of the game, to face the boss, you need to climb up on this little platform, and there's these little rungs right here that you and your team can climb on to earn additional points to face the boss.
Who's the boss? Where's the boss?
The boss is just like imaginary. It's not like an actual person trying to fight us off. It's just like the machine, because the whole game is about how like we got stuck in a video game, so we have to try to get out by defeating the boss.
So our little field is called the arcade, and our goal is to defeat the boss and face the boss by the end of the game.
Yeah, and
Is there, as I look at this picture, is there a certain side that one team would start on and a different
yeah.
side that the other team would start on?
Usually there's always a red alliance and a blue alliance. You get randomly selected when you face off in competitions on what side you'll be on. And usually the red alliance here will start on the red side, and the blue alliance over there will start on the blue side. So,
Will you be stacking things up or throwing things around?
no, you just like place them as you go. I mean, like they could end up being stacked, but they're not like, it's not like a stacking game. Actually, you can only have one of these crates, boxes at a time. You can't manipulate more than one. So, yeah.
Is there Do you see this game as being more advanced than last year's game, or how would you compare?
I would say that definitely like how it works, it's definitely more complicated than it was last year. Because first of all, they added one more person in the drive team. So that's just first of all, and then like there's a lot of things moving, and there's a lot of different ways you can earn points. And like this year, normally you can climb like you have like these spaces for 3 robots to climb on, but this year they only put 1, so you have to figure out how to lift another robot with you. So that's something that we have to figure it out in order to succeed.
Okay, now tell me a little bit about how the season is going to progress. You guys are going to be involved in regionals here pretty soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I think we start. Yeah, hopefully we got to regionals last year, and we hope to do it again. But we usually go off with our season by going to 2 local competitions in the state of Michigan, along with 1 statewide competition. And we specifically have a state competition because there is a lot of teams in Michigan itself, whereas other places there's usually a small regionals competition for a few states to come together and do all the states. And this year our world competition is set in Detroit. It's April, I believe.
There will be a states competition in Saginaw. The girls remind us that there's a lot more to robotics than you might think.
The good thing to remember is that FIRST and our robotics in general is not just solely about building a robot. It's also about coming together and sharing the message of FIRST and inspiring new generations to do new things.
And if they play their cards right, some real payoffs.
Some members of our team were able to do a soup kitchen and help out with feeding some people, as well as we were able to also help with the middle school level team with they hosted a competition at the middle school, so our team was able to help them with setting up and staffing it all, and yeah, there's that too.
And also like the Lego League, where we help like elementary school kids like do all of these things, and we get to referee them, we get to like get along with them, and we also like teach them about like our experiences and we have done in the past, and we like encourage them to keep on doing it because it's the best experience
to show them what we do here too, and get them to stay in the program and connect with this. A good thing to think about is that with this robotics program, which is a part of FIRST, they provide lots and lots and lots of scholarships to people, especially to people. Yeah, there's a lot of scholarships. Some of our team members have gone on to do really cool things. One of our team members, Zach, was able to help out one of the teams in Australia. And
Super kids backed by extraordinary parents. I wish them well. Next, a sit down with a couple of new kids on the block from our international student program. If you've been following Oxford's International Student Program, you know that some tougher standards and government regulations have significantly lowered the number of kids qualifying. Of the kids here this year, most are from India. They include seniors Rajat Jujain and Vinam Arya. I caught up with them over in the cafeteria.
Northern India, a state called Haryana, pretty close to the capital, Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah, actually we both are from the same school previously.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, so and we are living with the same host family too.
Okay. Tell me about the last school that you were in India. What was that like? Did you have a dormitory that you lived in, or did you stay with your family, or what was that like?
Yeah, our previous school in India was pretty much similar to this one, and we lived with our families, and we had pretty much same schedule. in India the emphasis is more on theoretical education, whereas in US it's much more practical. Like I got a lot of hands-on experience on robotics, whereas in India I got a lot of theoretical physics and maths and chemistry. Yeah.
Well, my next question was going to be why you decided to come here, but I think you kind of answered it right there. Yeah, I guess to you it seems like more practical in preparing yourself to work in the world, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything surprise you when you first got off the plane here?
No, actually, I've been to US before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, in 2012. So I was pretty much expecting, but I don't know what his views are on this.
There are many things which kind of surprised me in a positive manner about the United States and especially Oxford High School. Like people, be it teachers, students, everybody is so generous and welcoming out here that no matter, even if you have come from several miles, like 7 oceans across the globe, they still welcome you like your brothers and sisters, and we are pretty much glad for that. And you know, it's a really great experience. We both love to challenge ourselves and seek different opportunities, you know, look for different ideas, do something new and add a additional contribution and dimension to the society. And this place is being, you know, it's a niche for us and it's conducive to our holistic development. So that surprised me a lot. I thought it would be pretty much difficult, very competitive. We have to fight our way to recognition, but it's an easy swim if you are diligent and if you are willing for that.
Now, you gentlemen are both living with host families, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How did that work out for you? I mean, it would be hard for anybody to suddenly move in with a family of strangers, but...
Well, actually, again, I have already experienced this stuff. Like from 5th grade to my 8th grade, I actually studied in a hostel. So I was actually living far away from my family with my friends in a, like you said, dormitories, in a boarding house. So like I was kind of prepared for this. I didn't feel a bit homesick or anything. Yeah, so it wasn't that difficult.
Is there anything you don't like that you'd like to change?
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like was that in India there are so many options for us. Like both of us are vegetarians. So in India, McDonald's, Burger King, they have a large menu to cater for us. But in here, since I've been here for like 5 or 6 months, I haven't been to McDonald's yet.
Well, I happen to know the lady who runs the cafeteria. Maybe I can put in a good word for you.
Actually, the vegetarian stuff in the cafeteria is really
good.
Yeah. Is it hard being away from your family at home?
Honestly, I was expecting that it would be really hard to acclimatize with the family and stuff, but honestly, as I'm reiterating that people are so generous here that I'm feeling it's a home away from home, family away from family, and parents away from parents. They have never let us feel like that we are so away from our home. They never let us feel that. They have always welcomed us, shared our problems, and you know, sit as an actual family to discuss the problems and found a profound solution for that. So I'm lucky to find such host parents and mom and dad like that.
When will be your next chance to see your family?
Like both of our parents are coming in May for a graduation ceremony.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so it won't be until May.
Yeah, I actually just saw my parents. They just came to US last week, so I was with them.
Now, what are you thinking for next year?
Yeah, like I have applied to a lot of colleges and I'm hoping to get a good engineering school to continue my endeavors in robotics and aerospace engineering.
Oh, very good. And you?
I have a social mind, so I strive to utilize and hone my skills in social studies and all that stuff. So I'm really into business and economics. So like him, I've applied to major US institutions to pursue my degree in economics and management and to extend my interest and learning from that.
And just out of curiosity, once you do complete your college education, do you think you'd want to go back to your home country, or do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, like right now it's too early to make any decisions like that, but it all depends upon the opportunity that we get at the time, because like I have a great interest in aerospace engineering. So aerospace giants like Boeing and Lockheed Martin are all in US, so I hope that I would be staying here in US and continuing my jobs in US.
A couple of impressive kids who seem to have blended right in. That's Schooling Around for this week. Thanks to Russell Currier at the controls, our editor Dan Zweiss, and you for watching. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.